You're listening to No Early GGs.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to episode 65 of the No Early GG's FPL Draft Podcast. I am joined today by Noah and a special guest, which we're about to get into. So Noah, I'll let you freestyle this.
Thanks, Cam. So it was a good week. I know for both of us, we both came out with wins against our respective opponents. But Cam, we have a problem that we have to talk about right now. Someone very close to the pod broke one of the cardinal rules that we have. And we don't have many rules on this podcast, but
there's one rule.
There's one rule, and that is no early GGs. Okay. So hold on. We'll introduce our guest. I'm sure most of you could guess, but Dean is with us again, and we're going to let him state his case and explain why he did not, commit this fraudulent act. Dean, the floor is yours.
Well, I'd like the counsel for the prosecution to argue why they think my terminology would be considered an early GG.
Why don't you give us a breakdown of what happened with your
game? In my league that Noah is in, of course, and we're in a tight battle for the middle of the table. I was losing to another owner on our league by 10 points, and the players that were left they had Romero, defender for Tottenham, and I had Nicholas Jackson, striker for Chelsea. Nicholas Jackson only has 2 goals on the season up until that point. And Romero, Tottenham's been doing great. And so the odds of me overcoming a 10-point deficit were significant. So I might have mentioned to unrelated third parties that, unless a miracle happens, I'm going to lose to this other owner because there's no way Jackson's going to he needed a goal and an assist, and then Romero had to die before the game. So I said it was almost impossible for me to win, and I was kind of depressed. But I didn't say I lost. I never contacted my opponent to say, good game. So I want to know why I'm being accused of violating the no early GG rule when I was just expressing the long shot that I would possibly win the game, which ultimately, if you paid attention, Romero got a red and Nicholas Jackson had a hat trick, so I was able to win, and a miracle did happen. So why, pray tell, is the prosecution saying that I violated the early GGs when I expressed just frustration that I looked like I would lose?
Okay, so I'll give some additional context there. Maybe you didn't, officially break the rule, but we were together watching the game on Monday, and your attitude just it did not support what you just said.
I don't understand.
He was sulking.
Sulking. Is that an early GG, Cam? I want to know, Cam. Is that considered what's the definition of an early GG? You're depressed and sulking, or do you actually have to say no early, or good game? Good game.
When I initially brought this up before we recorded, I told my father that, me and Cam discussed it, and we decided a fair punishment would be a 1-episode ban from the podcast. But clearly, we are respectful enough to let you state your case. So once we finish recording, me and Cam will get back together, and we'll determine if that 1-episode ban still stands. But I know Cam didn't hear it before, so we'll talk about it after. I am glad that you won, Dad. I'm not happy that you're still ahead of me in the table, but
fourth and fifth.
Yeah, 4th and 5th, still a lot of season to go. And Absolutely. Just one little thing to add, that unnamed third party was my mom that he was talking to, because he needed to express his frustration to someone. But all right, that's all I have to say.
So there's my case. I rest my case, and I believe that this ban should be thrown out of court. That's all I have to say on this matter. But I still had to know in the other league.
All right. Well, I'm glad we could gather the evidence there. So yeah, Noah and I will decide on what the punishment is. All right. So back to the normal scheduling. I think now we're gonna briefly talk about how each of our teams did, and then we'll just preview the games for the next game week. So Dean, why don't you talk about how your team did, although you kind of already
You didn't give him, you didn't give him enough right there.
I think I could talk more. No, my team did not too well, obviously, until that last game. As I said, I was about to lose. I have Mbomo, who's great again, and I actually picked up a striker that I really don't like at all, Neil Mope, but I had Zeke Mduini. I don't know. I'm down on Burnley, and he's done nothing all season. So I decided to roll the dice on Maupe, and he scored. And so it kept it close. And then Nicholas Jackson went nuts and got me 16 points. So I was able to win. So I had a good week.
All right, Noah, what about you?
As I mentioned earlier, I won pretty handedly. Sorry, Dad, I'm not going to talk about my win in our league, even though I think I was the highest point scorer there. But for Cam and my league, I got 46 points, and I got to give it to my strong defense for this one. Stones got me 6 points. Lascelles got me 9. He got a bonus or 3 bonus. And then Onana kept a clean sheet as well. And then topping it all off, Bernardo, 2 bonus points, 2 goals scored. So good win for me over there.
All right. Yep. I think Noah and I actually scored the same amount of points in our games this week, both 46. I probably would have had more, but I did not start Nicholas Jackson. He's on my bench. And I also started Udogi. I did still win. I picked up Kudus and he got 11 points. And I also have Palmer with 12, as well as Matoma. And then Joel Ward got a clean sheet, and so did Nick Pope. So could have been better, but I guess I didn't need the hat trick on my bench. So hopefully I get the bench right this week and it helps me out. All right, let's get into these games. So the first game is Saturday at 7:30 a.m. So waivers are going to be on Friday morning. This game is Wolves Tottenham. This game is pretty interesting given how Spurs' last game went. So I think most of our discussion will be about the injuries that Tottenham and red cards that they have now and how you can replace them, and if you would play those Spurs players against Wolves. So I think we can go that route. Does anybody have any good replacements for the players that will be out for this Tottenham game?
Yeah, so obviously ton of reds on defense, Udogi and Romero.
Yeah.
Both banned. I think Emerson Royale,
Yeah, I agree,
is going to be starting for sure. And I think I would target him. However,
somebody else.
No.
There's somebody else in Tottenham too who's probably going to play.
So you can go ahead. Who is it?
The guy you didn't know was out of the league. He was in the league.
Eric Dyer.
Eric
Dyer too.
He'll probably get a start this week, I think, with all those injuries.
Yeah, he came in. He came in during the Chelsea game, and I mean,
scored one too that was taken away from him.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice goal, just like a foot offside. But what I was about to say is Wolves Tottenham. I always feel like it's a weird matchup. I think Wolves beat them last year. So that's in the back of my mind. And I want to stick with that because I feel like there's something that Wolves have against Spurs where they could, come out victorious. But I'm saying that now.
Yeah.
I still would probably go with, Spurs defenders.
Yeah. And the Wolves, as far, you always think of the Wolves as being a strong defensive team, but I read today that the Wolves only have 1 clean sheet in their last 14 Premier League matches, but they've also scored a goal in each of their last 10. So and thanks to my guy, I hope I'm pronouncing Hee-Chan Hwang.
Yep.
Yeah. He has 5 goals and 3 assists in his last 8 matches. So you know what? He's able to score against anyone, it looks like. And so maybe, Tottenham defense may not look as strong with He-Chan playing in there.
Yeah, I do have. So I have Semedo, who I had picked up for the Sheffield game. They didn't even keep a clean sheet. In fact, they lost. So I don't know if I'm going to be starting him against Spurs. They do have Fulham after, and then I believe they have a tough match after that. So I think Wolves defenders, I'll probably drop Semedo this week. Just because I already have Udogi missing this next game week, and Botman. So I do need 3 defenders, and I'm not thrilled about Semedo against Spurs.
Yeah, I picked up Dawson Cam last week to play against Sheffield as well. And I got 0 points from Dawson, so I will be waiving him this week as well. And against Tottenham, it's silly. I think it's, Tottenham still have, a great attack, even with their massive injuries, because, Madison's out, Richarlison's out, Van de Ven is out, Solomon's still out, Udogi, Sessegnon, and Perisic.
So I think, honestly, if it boosts anybody up that wasn't playing, I mean, Brennan Johnson started their last game and got subbed out after the red card. So I feel like he probably gets the biggest boost, especially from Richarlison being injured.
Yep.
Too bad he's already taken, but we can move on. The next game is Luton versus Man U. So Man U actually just lost to Copenhagen after being up 2-0 with a red card. So this is interesting timing. They're playing probably the worst team in the Prem this week.
Whoa, come on. They're in 17th place, aren't they?
Hey, they tied Liverpool.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. I thought we were talking about Everton. Yeah, you're right. Yep. I meant, sorry, I got them mixed up with Sheffield, guys. Give me a break.
I was about to say, I think Sheffield had their first win, but all right. All right, I'm going to start off with this one.
Okay, go ahead. Speak your truth.
I don't know. All right, I'm worried about Rashford, and I know my dad can relate because he has Rashford in our other league, but I'm worried about him. I didn't get to watch the game. I was following it, and I was shocked when I saw the end result, because last I checked, it was 3-2 Man U. And then they lost. So that can't be great going into the weekend. I'm sorry. I'm concerned about Rashford. I'm hoping that this red card doesn't carry over to Champions League. I know you both told me, or to EPL, but I know you both told me that I shouldn't have anything to worry about. But there are times where red cards carry over to the other leagues, and I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm still worried. I guess I'll look into that right now. But
I believe he will be banned for the next Champions League matches, either one or multiple. But I didn't see the first half of the game, but I did watch the end, and it was just pathetic. But for Man U, which unfortunately I have a bunch of Man U players. But I heard the announcers at the end, or the pundits talking about that card on Rashford was unjustified, the straight red. I didn't have a chance to watch the replay, but what they were saying was it shouldn't have been a straight red, and that's just one more thing adding to all the uproar about VAR and the refs and stuff, and this isn't going to help.
Okay, confirmed it's not carried over to EPL. Phew. All right, go ahead, Cam.
Yeah. So my biggest question for this game is I have Reguilon, who is like their only real left back now. I have dropped Shaw at this point, but Reguilon didn't even play a single minute against Fulham. He didn't play in their game today either against Copenhagen. So no idea what's going on. Dalot and Wan-Bissaka have been starting. I mean, I think the clear choice here would be that you would want their defenders. And this back line that they've been using is absolutely atrocious. Johnny Evans, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, and Dalot. So, I think, what are your opinions on that?
So they did keep a clean sheet last weekend, and Johnny Evans was starting.
He's out now. He got hurt today.
All right. Didn't know that.
I just read that. Yeah.
But Wan-Bissaka also just came back from injury, so he may be available in all leagues. Yeah. I think he's actually available in both of my leagues.
Yeah.
So
I had him earlier, but then when he got injured, I released him, and I picked up Reguilon, and I had him too, Cam, and hasn't played.
You must be listening to me ramble.
I think you and I are just like we have a Vulcan mind meld with certain players.
Yeah. So I mean, for Reguilon, I mean, again, he's one of the 3 defenders that I absolutely need to rely on. So I feel like if I can't trust a player like that to start, even though it's against Luton, I might need to drop him, sadly.
Well, Cam, you know who might be available if you want a Man U defender?
Who is
Harry
this?
Maguire.
He almost scored in this
He
Copenhagen
did hit the
game.
crossbar.
Yeah. So you might be onto something there.
When is Luke Shaw? Well, I don't know when Luke Shaw is due back. Still another couple of weeks. So
Yeah, I think end of November, early December. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Arsenal, Burnley, also at 10 a.m. I mean, Dean, I know you said you had a Burnley player. Are you starting Dooney in this or
well, I
no?
released him to get Maupay. So
Oh,
he's
yep,
gone.
yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't start him. Arsenal, and they won today. They beat Sevilla 2-0. But yeah, I don't see. I mean, Burnley's in 19th place with 4 points, and Arsenal is only 3 points from first. So I can't. I wouldn't start anybody on Burnley.
Yeah, this seems like one of those simple, like, just start all the Arsenal players that you have, probably other than Jorginho.
Yeah,
All right.
I just saw that Odegaard was out today, so
he's been injured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's still not available.
Yeah,
and Jesus is out.
Yeah. I don't know. Like Trossard may be available
Mhm.
in some leagues, but is he even worth picking up? Like he hasn't been starting.
Jorginho started today, which he doesn't
Oh,
normally.
actually,
Right?
so Trossard did start today.
yeah,
Yeah.
he scored their first goal.
He scored. That could be an interesting pickup, but I don't know. I'm nervous about that.
Playing time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they do have a ton of injuries, so.
Yeah. All right. So we can move on. Palace, Everton. What a great fixture this is. So
this screams 0-0 draw to me.
yeah, this seems like one of those games where you play both. I mean, Palace still have great fixtures going forward. Joel Ward is one of the players I picked up last week. So they have Everton, Luton, and then they have West Ham, which isn't the best, but also not the worst. I think like Palace players, Jordan Ayew. We're back to Jordan Ayew.
Your boy.
Yeah.
1 goal and 1 assist in the last 2 games. Is he worth picking up as a midfield option?
I think so. I mean, Eze is back, and he played, I guess, the other day. But Michael Elise is still for another couple of weeks. He keeps re-injuring himself, so I think Ayew's a good pickup.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I had him in one of these leagues for a while, and I think he was producing a few points here and there. I ultimately dropped him. I personally, I don't think I'm gonna pick him up because of my current midfielders, but yeah, no, I'm with you.
However, now Everton has been looking much better lately, but Crystal Palace has 2 wins, 4 draws, and only 1 loss in their last 7 against Everton. But they're playing at Ted Lasso Park. Which one? Oh, Selhurst Park, their home field, and no team has scored fewer home goals than Crystal Palace this season. They only have 4 goals at home.
Oof.
So maybe there's some kind of jinx there. I don't know.
So does that mean you would start an Everton defender, and which one would you pick? How would you rank them?
I think Mylenko is not, and aside from the goal, I mean, that goal last week was kind of fluky, but he's been pretty strong, and Everton's looking much better. And Sean Dyche has 3 wins and 2 draws against Roy Hodgson in his last 5 matches. So maybe he has his number.
He might.
And actually, Ashley Young scored the own goal.
Yes. That was my Matoma points. Yep.
But for me, I don't think I would pick up an Everton defender. I don't know.
I'll have to disagree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I did say 0-0 draw, which I still believe.
That's a good defender then.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the defenders I have right now, well, now that John Stones is out, I'm going to have to reevaluate. But yeah, I'm still seeing low scoring game, if not 0-0 draw. For this.
One more note: that Everton last week drew against Brighton 1-1.
Yeah,
that's a good point. And Brighton is a powerhouse as far as offensively. Not defense. I think their defense kind of has holes, but offensively, they have a lot of people who could score.
I feel like they've been not too hot recently.
They've been
Sorry,
up and down.
we'll wait till we get to
Brighton. Okay.
Brighton.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Bournemouth and Newcastle. So Bournemouth last week, they lost 6-1 to City. Honestly, probably going to see something a little bit similar here. I do believe Callum Wilson went off injured in the game that they had yesterday against Dortmund. So their front line might look a little bit weird. I'm going to expect that Gordon's probably the most dangerous player for them.
Absolutely.
But other than that, like, I don't know if I can trust Bournemouth players. Nick Pope is absolutely going to be in my starting lineup this week. So I think I'm obviously leaning very heavily Newcastle. Dan Burn also is injured.
He's out for a while.
So, I mean, I think Livramento or Lewis Hall is going to come in. It's probably a toss-up which one actually starts this game.
Yeah, it was actually interesting. Yesterday against Dortmund, Livramento started at left wing.
Yeah, it was weird. I saw that.
Yeah, and Lewis Hall started at left back.
But
so
they lost to Dortmund.
They
2-1.
lost.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting lineup, I feel like.
Yeah,
we're going to see from Newcastle.
So go ahead, Dean.
I was going to just talk about last weekend's game, Newcastle. I mean, that goal by Anthony Gordon. I mean, Arteta obviously, blew his top about the refereeing and such. But I watched that, man, and I thought there were 3 potential reasons to disallow that goal. But the most significant one was when Gabriel was pushed down in the box by
Joelinton. I disagree with that.
See,
I did not think it was a foul.
I think it was a foul.
I did not think it was offside, but the only thing I thought VAR should have dwelled on for a lot longer was if that ball was out. I saw one camera angle which was not clear at all. I don't know why they didn't look into that more. I feel like if they just focused on that one potential issue or whatever, it would have caused a lot less controversy because trying to assess 3 different calls, like, it just seemed like they had no idea what they were doing. And I'm super heated about how VAR is being handled. I know it's not completely relevant to what we're talking about. So
as long as you can go off on a rant about that lousy refereeing, it's like, come on, you have an opportunity.
Yeah. So that's all I had to say about that.
I still think it was a foul on Gabriel. So that shouldn't have been a goal. Oh, one more thing about this game. So Bournemouth got thumped 6-1 against Man City, but Cam Solanke had a goal that was nullified from an offside call. So it was like an almost goal.
Devastating.
Do you still have Solanke? Because you had him for a while, didn't you?
No, Willem has Solanke now.
Yeah, your other son got him because of you both. He listens to you guys too much. So.
I like Solanke. All right, sorry, go on.
Yeah, that's a good point about Livramento and Hall. I wonder if they do switch that up. I mean, as somebody that only has 3 playing defenders, like, I don't know if I can really take a risk on that, having already had Pope as well. But I think if I had like a 5th defender, I think Burns out for a pretty long time. So I think Livramento would be a pretty good pickup. He's probably who I would lean.
Yeah, I agree though, Cam. You should just not risk it with the Newcastle guys. Just focus on the other teams.
All right, I'll do that. Okay. Next game is Villa versus Fulham. Fulham, they are coming off of a 1-0 loss to Man U, and then Aston Villa, lost to Forest 2-0, which was very interesting.
Wow.
I mean, if you had asked us a month ago who would win this game, I think we would all say Villa. I think I'm still leaning Villa. They just seem to have cooled off a little bit, kind of like Brighton.
Yeah, I did watch the Villa Forest game, and I don't really want to knock Villa for it. Forest just looked unbelievable. Yeah, they just played so well, and everything they did just worked. So I'm gonna give credit to Forest there.
They were home too, Forest, right? So their fans were behind them, weren't they home? I think they were. I'm pretty sure.
All right,
that pumped them up a lot, I think.
It was a great game. So it's fun to watch, but I'm not gonna knock Villa for that. I still would take them over Fulham pretty much any day.
And Villa is playing tomorrow in the Conference League game. They're playing against that Dutch team, Zed Akmar.
Yeah.
So that I wonder how that impacts, their lineup on the weekend.
I saw somewhere that Cash will be available. He was orange flagged for a little bit, so I guess hopefully we see him rest tomorrow, and then he'll probably play. For Fulham, I mean, I dropped Andreas last week. Haven't really looked back. He started their last game. Doesn't really do much. I think they miss Mitrovic a ton. Willian's probably the main player I would want on their team, which I didn't think I would be saying. But I also don't want really anybody on Fulham.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree too. They're looking terrible this year.
Noah, what are your I want to hear your opinions on Zaniolo real quick before we move on.
Oh no, I knew that this would come back and bite me. So during the game, I texted Cam and I said, your boy Zaniolo looked good. He was everywhere. And Cam's like, what do you mean? So he like was everywhere and just like not good. I was like, no, he actually looked good. He almost scored a few, obviously came away with virtually no points. I don't even know if he ended up with 2. But he looked good and he was a threat. So I was giving Cam credit. And of course he was like, oh no, like he must not be playing well or something like that. But I like him. And yeah, I haven't checked if he dropped him or not, but I would be interested if he's available.
I dropped him and he already got picked up again. So sorry for you. You won't be able to get in on the Aston Villa attack, but he hasn't produced anything. So I think you'll be okay. You'll be okay. All right, let's move on. The next game is Brighton Sheffield. So, I mean, I think like with the last game we just talked about, Brighton should win this game. Sheffield won their last game. Brighton did not. They tied Everton. I guess we'll start off with the easy thing. Do you guys have any Sheffield players you're looking at, and would you even start them in this game? I'm assuming it's no.
That's absolutely no.
Well, I don't have anyone, but Archer.
Yeah.
I mean, that goal,
I guess
it was a goal. It was off a mistake and a weird deflection, but it was a goal. And you know what? I would 100% be targeting him. And I know both of you know exactly what I'm about to say.
Known starter. Yep.
He's a starting forward. Yeah. And there's 0 starting forwards in the free agents right now. I'm pretty sure for both of our leagues.
That's why I picked up Maupay last week.
I know, and I of looking for him.
He's a starter now because of the injury.
I remember looking for him to pick him up, and I was like, who could possibly have him? And of course.
Yep.
All right. So for Brighton, I am speaking as the resident owner of 3 of their top 5 scorers. I have Matoma, Ferguson, and Adingra. I guess March doesn't really count anymore because he's out for a very long time, sadly. But I'm looking forward to this game. That probably means that De Zerbi will start none of my players. We'll have to see their lineup in Europe tomorrow. But do you guys, I mean, I feel like this is another one of those toss-ups like with City, but do you guys have any Brighton defenders, and are you looking to pick any up that you think would start in this game? Just as a clean sheet hope against Sheffield, who you probably will get a clean sheet against?
So I panicked last week. Well, I wouldn't say panic, but I think I realized right before the deadline that one of my defenders was out. I think it was Lindelof. Someone was red flagged like right before the start. So I was like, I got to get him out and let's find someone. So I picked up Igor.
Yep.
Didn't know anything about him. All I knew was from what Cam said a few weeks ago. I was like, all right, there's just a chance, he may play. I think he subbed in for like a minute or 2, but I don't have any other Brighton defenders, but I know someone does.
Well, no, I'm 2 guys who might be available are the 2 Vs, Van Heck and Veltman. At least they're available in our league. And I have Jason Steele in goal. And I also have João Pedro, who's not a defender, but like you said, Cam, it's really hard to know who's going to start. But I think João Pedro's getting some time.
Yeah.
I'm a defender.
No, you're right. I was just
as a keeper.
I mean, would it be worth taking a chance on Brighton, even though they haven't won a game in the Premier League since September 24th? against
Seriously?
Bournemouth. After
Whoa.
that, they lost to Villa 6-1. Then they tied Liverpool, lost to City, tied Fulham, and then tied Everton. So they've really not been in good form.
It's amazing because they're in 7th and they have 18 points, but that must have happened. They must have started out of the gates really hot.
They were first
Yeah,
in the table
yeah.
for the first few weeks, and then I don't know. I'm a little nervous about them. I don't think I'll be taking any risk on Brighton defenders.
Yeah. Particularly the clean sheets have been hard to come by, but I still think Sheffield is the one time you would start any team's defenders.
Yeah.
All right. West Ham Forest. I feel like this is a very interesting game. I don't really know which way this is going to go. Last week we saw Forest beat Villa and Awoni was back, which I feel like was a pretty big reason for that. I know I saw you drop Chris Wood. That's probably a good thing. Are you guys anticipating goals from both teams here, or would you start defenders on either side?
I think goals. I just think that I think goals.
Yeah, I honestly never really trust West Ham defenders. I'll sometimes take a look at them depending on the matchup, but Forest has been hot, and yeah, I don't see either team really keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah, West Ham lost 3-2 last week, and your boy Kudu scored.
Mhm.
Bowen scored, and I mean they have guys who can score.
And the Kudu goal was nice.
Yeah, it was gorgeous, man.
Yep,
That
should have
was
counted
awesome.
for more.
Yeah. But West Ham does play in the Europa League tomorrow against Olympiacos, and so what impact will that have on the weekend? And
It's very true.
yeah. But I mean, I think Kudus is going to be in there. So.
Yeah, Kudus.
He's good. Man.
I'm
had him
keeping an
earlier.
eye.
I had him before he started playing. I had him for weeks. I'm like, when is this guy going to get in? When is he going to get in? And I released him. And of course, a couple weeks later, there he is every game now and scoring beautiful goals too. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be a tight one.
Yeah.
Be neck in the standings too.
Yeah, I feel like these two lineups have been pretty set. Forrest maybe not, but I feel like it's been consistent. Like Awoni when he's not injured, and then Gibbs White are probably the only two players for me.
Yeah, Gibbs White hasn't done anything except for he had one game, I feel like, where he had a brace of assists.
That's actually a good point. I haven't really tracked that. I just like watching him.
Yeah.
Want to trade him?
Oh, he's got
Gibbs
2
White
assists.
For Rashford? Well, no, I don't have Gibbs White for our league.
Oh, you don't have an ours? Crossover league. Sorry.
But I do want to note that when I did just say Gibbs White for Rashford, he hesitated. He's looking at me right now. He's considering it.
I would actually really consider that. I just don't know. But
He's
no, your
down on
philosophy
Rashford.
has always been, you've been telling me for years, man, as bad as Man U looks, they always seem to pick it up in the second half of the season. And so I'm not giving up on Rashford yet. Or Reguilon. No, maybe Reguilon.
Yeah, I'm giving up. I've given up. All right, 2 more games. So we have Liverpool Brentford on Sunday at 9. Brentford scored 3 against West Ham. Dean, are you keeping Maupay, and are you starting him in this one?
I'm keeping Maupay because, like Noah said earlier, there are so few starting strikers, and right now he seems to be locked in, at least for the short term.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep him. I don't know if I'm going to start him against Liverpool, because I'm definitely starting Mbeumo because he's just fantastic. But I do have Tsimikas for Liverpool, so I hate having that, having the attacker and the defender playing against each other.
Yeah, but is Tsimikas can even play?
Well, he didn't play last weekend, but I still won because of Nicholas Jackson. So I'm not starting Maupay only because I have better options. I have João Pedro against Sheffield and Nicholas Jackson, even though he's playing against Man City.
Yeah,
maybe his confidence. I mean, he's been close to scoring all season. He's had a lot of opportunities, and maybe this game where he got the hat trick, and he should have had a 4th even.
Wait,
way more.
Wait, how is Maupay starting? Who's injured?
I'm not sure, but somebody's out. He's been playing.
I think they sometimes play a 4-3-3, and then sometimes they play a 3-5-2. But I think they've been playing the 4-3-3 more because Rico Henry's injured, if I had to guess.
Okay. Yeah, wait, that's so interesting. I didn't, because Maupay just started He was just in there.
2 out of the last
Because
3.
let's be honest, Maupay's not very good.
No, he's not. Yeah, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, I picked him up, and I mean, he was better than Zeke Amdouni, I thought. I mean, I like Zeke, but Burnley didn't look like they can do anything. So,
Yeah. All right.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's normal. I mean, against Liverpool in particular, like Wisa, Maupay, and Mbeumo, probably the only 3 I would play. And then for Liverpool, like their lineup's pretty set. I think McAllister's actually suspended.
Yep.
So that's the only thing I would note. And then Robertson obviously still out too.
Oh, Van Dijk was actually, he's not going to play tomorrow, but he's sick. But they said he'll probably be back on the weekend. But why did I just see Gravenberch is out? Who I just picked up?
Is he?
Oh my.
Yeah.
God.
So okay, now that
Knee
Gakpo's
injury.
back, I think Darwin's still starting now.
Yeah, he had an interesting game last week. I think we need to rely on their lineup for the game tomorrow. Like I think listeners should watch that and see who is in that and then base their decisions off that. But I think Liverpool attackers like Darwin, even off the bench, I think I would start him against some teams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree.
Okay. Ready to get into the last one? It is Chelsea City. So are we expecting Are we expecting 4 goals again?
Oh, come on. No way. You both have false hope if you think that.
No, I was kidding. So Palmer and Nicholas Jackson. As I said, I benched Nicholas Jackson in the last game. Thankfully, did not need that hat trick. I honestly, I think he'll start. Like the reason I benched him is because I didn't know if he would start. I feel like they've done false 9 a couple times. I think he's got to start after getting a hat trick. So I'll probably start him in my lineup. I'm not really expecting that much though from him or Palmer. I am very, very pessimistic about how this game is going to go. So I think I'm all City FPL assets.
And yeah, Cam. Okay, so I was hoping that you're going to take a different approach, but
what did you want me to say?
Well, I wanted you to have hope. I wanted you to back Chelsea in this because of how dominant they were over a 9-man Spurs team.
I watched them miss 5 chances against 9 people though before they scored their second goal.
Yeah. And another thing to keep an eye out for, I guess it doesn't really matter fantasy wise, but Enzo may be injured. Yeah, he came out in the 58th minute against Spurs. So he might not be playing. I don't know if that really impacts Chelsea at all, but no, I can see City just cleaning up.
We'll see.
But with who? Now I'm
Doku. I mean, it's got to be Doku after last week, right? Grealish has been sad this year.
Well, Grealish started yesterday,
which probably means he won't start. Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't know. I feel kind of bad for him, but maybe Pep was like, "You're just going to be a Champions League player this year,"
which is still great.
I mean, kind of cool, but that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, Enrico Lewis has been playing just in the Champions League, and he's been great in the Champions League.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
It's like he has certain players for the big tournaments. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there's not that much to talk about FPL wise, just because I don't think we would recommend starting Chelsea players, and then City is all over the place. But I think the surest thing is Doku at this point. We saw Haaland get subbed off at halftime. You're obviously not doing anything with that. Like,
well, yeah,
it's just Pep.
It was hilarious because FPL was sending out like all their emails, notifications, like, what are you gonna do if Haaland's injured? All this, and then he scored a brace or a hat trick today or yesterday. Like, yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about.
No.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you guys wanted to discuss?
I want to just shout out to a great Halloween party a couple weeks ago, and it's good seeing you in person, Cam.
Good to see you too, Dean.
And today won't leave you all with a tale of an early concession or a game that really you just can't count out till the end, because we had a great example of that at the beginning of the episode. So we'll just leave you all with a simple, please respect your opponent and no early GGs.
Whatever that means.
You're listening to No Early GGs.